Hi, my name is Ann Cuba. I'm the president and CEO with Make-A-Wish Central and Northern Florida. I'm really excited to be joined by Jesse Eisner with Spotlight Energy today. Jesse is a board member of our organization and a strong supporter. Hey, Jesse.
Hi, Ann. How are you?
Good. How are you doing?
Excellent. Thank you.
Good. Well, tell me, let's start off with how you got involved with Make-A-Wish. So let's start at the beginning.
Sure. I just, fell in love with Make-A-Wish's mission. There's a lot of organizations out there that want to aim to help children, and a lot of them do it in a very great way, helping them medically. But there's something about just having that positive energy when you're in the middle of a very negative environment that is so moving and so helpful. It's not necessarily to focus on a doctor healing somebody. They're glad to have it, but looking at the mission and looking how those positive outlooks that occur after a wish is granted and seeing those kids' lives changed just floored me, and I just wanted to be involved in some way or another. And of course, I started out as a donor, and I started my business. It was very difficult for me to be more than a donor. It was very difficult for me to see my own family at the time. But then when I finally was able to get my business established a little bit, have some more time on my hands, I started reaching out, saying, how can I do more here? And now we're working together and on the board, and I love everything that Make-A-Wish is doing, and also just seeing how everything functions so well. My job's easy as a board member. Yeah, everyone does such a great job here and it's so well organized, but I'm excited to really help with this cause because of what it is.
Tell me why you think it's important for local businesses to support Make-A-Wish.
One of the things that's interesting, especially for smaller businesses or anything that's homegrown, is you can get really into the weeds of the needs of your business and not really be able to take a step back and see who around you is of need. And when you finally gather that time and gather that ability to look, you see that your community needs your help. And oftentimes those of us that have been able to start businesses or be in positions that they're managing them have either the financial or mental expertise to provide help. So when you look around your just local community, it could actually almost be overwhelming to see how much need there is. But it's really important that you stop, look around, and see what it is and how you can help your community. There's so many different ways to do so. It doesn't have to be donation, it's volunteering. And also for those of us that have families around us, or even those of us that run businesses, you're setting an example for everyone who looks up to you. You know, as an owner, one of the things that's important to me is I want to set an example to the people who work for me that we're not in this just to make money or do what it is we do. We're in this to help who's available. And I want my kids to see that. I want my kids to see that same thing. Like, no matter what happens, this is an important part of what your life should be. You need to give back. So that's why I think it's really important.
I love that. You have 2 daughters.
Yes.
And I have a little boy at home. So we know what it means. It's like, thankfully, to have healthy children. Tell me why, when you hear the stories of some of our wish kids and some of our families, how does that personally connect to you?
In a strange way, and I think a lot of us do this, I've been fortunate that my kids have been healthy. And we all have moments, though, where your kid gets sick. I've definitely been in the ER with my kids for one thing or another. At one point, my daughter was running 106 fever. And as parents, you never have more anxiety than when your child is ill. And then when I'm able to project myself into the shoes of the parents dealing with a child who is dealing with something a lot more serious, and how that grips me emotionally, and I picture if that was my child, what I would go to the end of the earth to help them in any way, including even some positive energy, anything I can do. So it's just really, as a father, in particular, I'm able to just project that image of wanting to help a child, because I could see how I would feel in that situation. And the stories and focused on the kids and watching the kids' reactions to things. I also watched the parents, like the parents seeing their child smile. It's almost as gripping as watching the child, because I don't know what they've been through. I'm not going to pretend to know what they're going through to help their child, but to see them feel the sense of positive energy. Every video I see of a wish being granted, and you see it on everybody, I can kind of feel that energy from them and what that means, and that's why I'm there.
Do you have a favorite story? It's kind of hard. We always get this question of like, what's your favorite wish that you've granted as an organization? And it's really hard to just pick one. But do you have a moment or a story that stands out to you?
Once I was able to get onto the board, part of the challenge of the board is finding ways that when there's a wish where you can personally get involved, and when you personally get involved, it you feel it just even a little bit more. And we had one wish. My wife and now both kids are into equestrian and jumping horses, and suddenly we had a wish, and the wish was for a custom saddle. And you came to me and said, we have someone that's making a custom saddle, but we're trying to present this in a way that is more than just here's a saddle. Do you have any ideas? And I said, yeah, I know a facility, and World Equestrian Center turned out to be the facility that I think we can reach out to them, and I think they'd be very interested. And they're part of the Central and Northern Florida chapter. They're within our region, and I think they'd be very interested in helping a local child in particular. So we reached out and we found the right contact, and was able to pass it on to you, knowing that you even had a personal hand in just helping that. And that was the first wish as a board member I was able to really kind of see and help with. We go through these wish sprints where we try to help with several things, but that was the first one when I got onto the board that I was able to find some way to personally touch, and it meant a lot to say that, wow. And of course, none of that happens without the Make-A-Wish team. All I'm doing is trying to help, and the team put that together. So I don't take any credit for that whatsoever, but still the fact that I could at least help direct, and seeing what that led to meant a lot. And as a result, that was a favorite of mine, just for the personal touch.
I love that you shared that. And that just as an example, you're being humble and modest, but our board members and volunteers and corporate partners and local businesses, by providing those types of connections and contacts and that network for our team members to utilize, helps us really be able to do our jobs better. So thank you to you for being such a strong supporter from a personal, business, and board member level, because that enabled that wish to be so special that it brought it to the Make-A-Wish level. And so we try to make sure that everything is even extra special. And so you enabled us to be able to do that. And the World Equestrian Center, of course, helped us out as well. And so just an example about how there's so many ways for local businesses to be involved with our organization, from monetary cash donations to in-kind, all opportunities that we kind of touch on at board meetings. Do you want to touch on a little bit about that in terms of the variety of opportunities there are if a local business wants to become involved with our organization?
The volunteer opportunities are plentiful, and I don't think Make-A-Wish is ever going to fall short on saying, yeah, come on and help. Mm-hmm. And local businesses in particular, you have access to your staff. You have access to do things to help your staff, even provide those volunteer hours, saying, I'm going to give you this time off of work to go volunteer. There are things, if you really think about it, you can go do. But also Make-A-Wish is great at providing some fun events where you can do some fundraising. One of the best things a local business can do, and I really enjoyed going to, is the Wishmakers Ball. And I don't think anyone kind of leaves that room with a dry eye, but in the same respect, it's so overwhelming in what goes on during that event, and so overwhelmingly positive, but also such a fun event. And businesses can sponsor a table. In sponsoring a table, you bring who you want. You can offer that to employees. You can sponsor 2 tables, and there are different levels of sponsorship that I believe will fit all different businesses. That's another opportunity. And of course, I think lastly, once you get to know anyone, know me, know you, know any board member, know any employee, and you have an idea that's great for fundraising for Make-A-Wish, I think everyone's going to open to, well, let's see if we can make that work.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, as we kind of close and wrap up here, Jesse, you and your wife and your company, Spotlight Energy, have been such key supporters of our organization, and through your donation have helped to grant even more wishes to our local kids. And I wanted to give this to you. This is one of our blue stars. I'm going to take it off for you to make it easy, but these actually glow in the dark. And so it provides light, and it's just an example of the light that you provide to our local community and to our Wish kids. So thank you for all that you do and for giving light to our kids, to give them that hope and that strength and that joy to keep on pushing forward. And so we can't do it without supporters like you from a board level and also a company level. And a personal level. So thank you.
Well, and I extend that thanks right back to you and your team and everyone who's even spending the time to listen to this, that we're all a team in some form or fashion. So thank you to everyone else as well. I'm just trying to do my part, what I can do with it. So thank you, Em.
Well, thank you. We appreciate that. And we'll definitely share that with the team as well.